Hi, I'm Enchanting Nubianette. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Here we have another breaking news story. This time is focused on two church leaders, David E. Taylor, who has called himself the Apostle, and Michelle Brannon, who is his executive director or spiritual right hand person. They're both facing very serious federal charges. So authorities have said that they found forced labor and even money laundering operation under the banner of the Kingdom of God Global Church, formerly Joshua Media Ministries International, or JMMI. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it's based in Tampa, Florida. So this story, I was flabbergasted because you should see the amount of wealth they have accumulated. So, in regarding to luxury properties, there's a 28,000 square foot 10 bedroom and also a 10 and a half bathroom mansion in Tampa's upscale Avila neighborhood. It was last sold for about $8 million or more, and authorities also searched a multi-million-dollar home in Ocala, another part of Florida, which has a value of $2.6 million. Some more perks, everyone. Well, there are federal documentation that alleged that they funded luxury cars. Now, watching the video, I saw several. Now, I mean more than 5 cars, brand new with even a red bow on top. There are boats, jet skis, ATVs, and all of this has been funded through millions in donations. So I'm going to talk about a way that they have gotten most of the money in a few minutes. So their operation is said to have brought in $50 million in donations since around 2014. So you're probably wondering, how do they get this rich? I mean, which pastor has a mansion with 10 and a half bathrooms, not even 10 and a half bedrooms, and more than one mansion? But you should see the mansion, everyone. It's magnificent. It looks like something that's in Europe, like in Greece. It's beautiful. The architecture is gorgeous. Very well, very well architect. The style of it. The architecture has a superb design and talent. So let's get back to how they got rich. They had set up call centers in states such as Florida, Texas, Missouri, Michigan, all under the church branding. So these people were charging people for divine level promises and conviction based giving. So they were the ones who were, you know, getting the people to give their money, give their donations, brainwashing or allegedly brainwashing them, or sweeten them up, to say, oh, you should give to this church and why. And, it's going to show how much you love the Lord. And this is another way of you humbling yourself, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, these call centers, they weren't even staffed by, regular volunteers. These not people who are willing to do the work for them. These were victims. And these victims said allegedly that they were coerced into very long hours of unpaid work. Now, I remember when I attended church, I volunteered. I loved it. I would wake up very early in the morning. I would volunteer on every Sunday for more than one service. And, it's like the act of giving. It makes you feel good. But these people, they were deprived, according to them. They were controlled, banned from even leaving the premises. They felt isolated. And even this, everyone, even this extreme. They were often physically and psychologically punished for failing to meet aggressive goals. So I cannot believe that, these pastors thought that they can get away with this, especially in this day and age, in 2025. This is ridiculous. Why not have people who want to serve, who want to give back, instead of forcing people, allegedly? So the workers, according to them, they were doubled as personal servants or armor bearers to the pastor, David Taylor. Now, if you're not familiar with what an armor bearer is, historically, an armor bearer is a warrior attendant who carries their armor and weapons, but that was in the past, many, many, many centuries ago, for example. But it is a person who is the pastor's assistant. They support their leader. They handle like many tasks, like the clerical work, for example, and they do everything in order to give diligent service and even other times protection. Suppose that pastor is well known, especially for someone who is very wealthy, like this pastor is. They will definitely have weapons because they are trained as a bodyguard, for example. So that's what an armor bearer is. And they lived on site, and they didn't have any kind of life. They didn't have any social life. They weren't able to have any freedom, flexibility, none of that. And the money always flowed upward to the pastors. So the donations supported their lavish lifestyles. It wasn't any community outreach at all. This church, from what I know, wasn't there to serve the people. It was there to serve the pastor and also the pastor's director. What a shame. This is disgraceful, especially, like I said, in these times where we know that, number one, truth always comes to light. I believe that. And if you're doing something like this to harm other people, to oppress people, you're going to have consequences because the truth is going to be known. And here it is, the FBI raid. So let's continue. So one mother, her name is Bridget Walton, she shared to the media, to the journalists, about her own son. His name is Patrick. So he was, very attracted to the church. He was very much, a full-fledged Christian. And as a college student, she said that he was brainwashed so deeply that he defended Pastor Taylor for many years. But then he finally returned home, but he was traumatized and he was broke. He had nothing to show for his 6 years of service to the pastor. So for all the time when he was, working for the pastor voluntarily and doing so many different jobs, filling in so many roles, he was not even paid. So there are also at least 8 known victims across multiple states. This is horrible. So right now, both leaders have been arrested in coordinated FBI raids across states. Not just one state, not just Florida, but many states. And Pastor Brannon, David Brannon, was arrested at the Tampa mansion. The Tampa mansion, no bond was set at all, not immediately. And then Michelle Taylor was taken into custody in North Carolina. So they're both charged with forced labor, conspiracy to commit forced labor, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So each charge they have can carry up to 20 years in prison with massive fines. How in the world do you think that people are going to continually fund you, especially when you are splurging? It's like they really don't even think that people have worked hard in order to donate the money to them. All the cars that was in the yard, not even utilized yet. And why in the world? I didn't hear about the pastor's wife or any children. Why in the world would this man need a home with 10 and a half baths and even more than one mansion as well? This is the ultimate church scandal. So this alleged human trafficking ring was disguised as a religious ministry. And again, everyone, this is a horrible, horrible story to know that how many people were scammed. People thinking that they're doing something good from the bottom of their heart. Meanwhile, they're giving money to someone who doesn't have any conscience of what hard work means. And then living this extremely soft life on everyone else's dime. Horrible. It reminds me of, well, the other pastor. Remember, he went to jail, the Brooklyn pastor. They called him, like, I can't remember the nickname they called him, but he wore a lot of Gucci suits. I believe they were not even real. I think his name was, I don't know if it was White Tower or something similar to that. I can't recall his name now. But he definitely was. He was the one who everyone said he faked the church robbery. And that was again in Brooklyn. I believe it was in Brownsville, Brooklyn, which is extremely rough. And he was sporting so many thick gold chains, the rings, everything was name brand. The car was luxury. I don't know if he had like a Bentley. It was a really extremely expensive car as well. And this one is another huge scandal, but involved human trafficking and money laundering. Terrible. So this, everyone, is again how people can be preyed on and people's labor can be exploited. And everyone, you have to be wise. You have to think for yourself. This is not the time decades ago, when I was just, a young child, where people just believe everything that the pastor or the priest, told you. You have to think rationally, and you need to be street smart as well. Because why are you working even harder for someone else's lifestyle? Why? And then you're praying for someone to pay for your bills. Meanwhile, you're giving that same money to someone else. Use wisdom. So everyone, what is your feedback regarding this story? Do you have any situation or an experience like this? Please share in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching. And please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And keep your head on a swivel, because there's so many ways that people are trying to get over on people, especially during these times when our economy has definitely decreased, and many people do not believe in hard work. They believe in getting paid from someone else. And that it doesn't matter if it's done illegally either. So keep your head on a swivel and stay safe wherever you are.